Today on Muy Criollo, we'll be making Ecuadorian salsa, also known as ají. I'll demonstrate 3 recipes in this video: the basic, traditional salsa de ají, a modified version of salsa de ají con maní, which I changed to be easier to make with common ingredients in American supermarkets, and ají de Pepas de Sambo, which is a fun salsa made with squash seeds, proving once and for all you can make anything into salsa if you try. We'll start with the simplest recipe, salsa de ají. Now this is an easy recipe, but there's some specialty ingredients which may be hard to find, so let's take a brief moment to talk about them. What makes it ají? The special ají peppers. This brings us to the first of our 3 specialty ingredients. Ajís commonly refer to peppers of the capsicum batatum family. In other words, South American chilies such as ají amarillo, ají limón, criolla seca, etc. These are Ecuadorian ajís of an uncertain variety I found in my supermarket's Ecuadorian section. But if you don't live anywhere near an Andean outpost, you can use Fresno peppers. They're an okay substitute. Just don't use jalapenos. Use something red at least. Our second specialty ingredient is the Tomate de Arbol. This is a unique tropical fruit that is kinda like what a tomato would be like if it was legitimately a fruit and not just pretending. It's sweet, it's tangy, and it's the most common ingredient used to make ají, after ají. You can use the whole fruit or the pulp. I got the fruit whole because I wanted to show you what it looks like. Now that's out of the way, let's begin. Take 3 tomates de arbol, half them, and scoop out the seeds. Half a plum tomato, scrape out the seeds and toss that in. Take your ají, scrape out the seeds and add that in. How much comes down to personal preference. I put in 1. Apart, slice half a red onion, very thin, and chiffon out some cilantro. These will garnish our pureed ají along with our 3rd specialty ingredient, chochos, or lupini beans. What? Is this guy adding frickin' beans to salsa? What the heck? I'm out of here. I know you must be thinking that right now, but don't close that tab because these beans are special. God, Buddha, Albert Einstein specifically made these beans to be perfect in salsa. You need to trust me on this. Except no substitutes. If you can't find them, leave them out. If you put kidney beans or pinto beans in your salsa, I will come to your house, crawl in through the window, and weep salty tears into your salsa. These beans have a unique, snappy texture, kind of like edamame. To prepare them, soak the dry beans overnight before cooking them. Try one to make sure it's tender, then immediately spit that out, because it's disgusting and unbearably bitter and in fact, toxic. Why? Lupini beans have a compound called lupini, which is a neurotoxin. In order to remove this neurotoxin, we have to soak the cooked beans in salty water overnight, and then drain and replace with new salted water every day for at least a week, maybe longer. Repeat the process, tasting a bean every few days after the 7-week period until no trace of bitterness remains. Leave them in the brine and they should keep for at least a month in the fridge. Why do humans eat these things? Come on, you're making a sauce of a pepper that literally stings your tongue with intense pain so you don't eat it. Are you really asking me why we're adding a bean that contains a mild neurotoxin? Anyway, this is obviously a very involved process. So you might be asking yourself, is it even worth it? And the answer is no, because any store that sells these also sells them in a jar and ready to eat. So just use a cup of that, I guess. Once that's set aside, we'll blend the tomate de arbol with the tomato and ají. Mix in some salt, pepper, olive oil, and lemon juice, to your personal preference. Once that's smooth and coats a spoon, we'll pour it in a bowl and add the onions, the cilantro, and the chochos. And there you have it, the traditional and iconic Ecuadorian ají. But what if you can't find all these obscure South American ingredients? Fear not, friends, because now it's time for our next recipe. Aji con mani is usually just what I showed you with the addition of pureed peanuts or peanut butter. Oh god, he's putting weird things in the salsa again. Stop it! Trust me. I'm going to take the opportunity to show you a recipe I came up with, very much in the spirit of traditional aji, but with ingredients you can find in any supermarket. Start by placing 1/4 a cup of peanuts into the blender, with just enough water to cover them. Set that aside while you cut and de-seed some red bell pepper. My peppers were huge, bulky boys, so I only used 1.5, but if yours are smaller, adjust. Add half a plum tomato, seeds removed. And apart, let's slice up another half red onion and chiffonade some more cilantro. Blend up the tomato and red pepper until you realize you forgot the aji, so add 1 or 2, along with some salt, pepper, olive oil, and a generous amount of lemon juice this time. It needs it. It's not going to get as smooth because of the peanuts, but once it's close enough, pour it in a bowl and add your onion, your cilantro, and your chochos. I know I said I would use common ingredients, but come on, I spent 2 weeks making these. Boom. One aji that you can make anywhere. Now, it's time for things to get a little interesting. Aji de Pepas de Sambo is a sauce common in the south of Ecuador, and it's a really fun alternative. Heat up some olive oil in your oldest pan, and add 2 scallions, roughly chopped, along with aji, and let that sweat on low heat for a bit. Add some salt, some pepper, and a dash of cumin, and another half a plum tomato. Full transparency, I just add the tomato because I like to. It's not strictly traditional in any of these recipes. Let's add a cup of pumpkin seeds. Any changes on my part are what I think makes the final aji tastier or more feasible, such as using pumpkin seeds instead of Sambo seeds because we don't have Sambo up here. Now that's out of the way, raise the heat a little and let those flavors get to know each other before tossing it all in the blender. Now, when blending this, you may find you need to add a little water to thin it out. We're also going to add our usual salt, pepper, olive oil, and lemon juice. Lots of lemon juice. Blend smooth and pour into a bowl. Now we're going to add some sliced onion, and skip the cilantro and chochos. They don't really work well with this recipe. And there you have it. I especially love this aji because it seems to blow people's minds. What? You made this out of pumpkin seeds? Haha, yeah, and so can you. And that's 3 aji recipes. I hope you enjoyed it and found at least one recipe you might be able to use. If you liked the video, please don't be afraid to give a like or a subscribe. I really appreciate it. As always, it's been fun cooking for you, and I'll see you all next week.